Coach Dawkins. You know, I was an assistant at Washington when he was head coach at Stanford, and his teams were the toughest teams to prepare for. They were always so organized, so tough, and so detailed. And as we got ready for this game, it took me back to that spot of just the respect I have for him, this program, and what he continues to accomplish. They're a really good team, and they're playing high-level basketball. We were fortunate to come out today to make just enough plays down the stretch to get stops when we needed to, but they deserve a lot of credit. He's done a great job with this team, with this program, and we just feel really fortunate to come out with a win.
Talk about how you guys were able to kind of hang on toward the stretch. They had a 1-point lead at like 4-something to go, and you really buckled down. I don't even think they scored till for the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, our guys, a lot of pride in our ability to get stops defensively. Thought we did late. We did a better job guarding the basketball. I think, trying to switch it back and forth, man and zone, just to be disruptive. So our program, we take a lot of pride on being able to get stops, and we were fortunate down the stretch to do that.
And they were 1 of 19 from 3. That didn't help matters. How did your defense impact that?
I think our ball pressure, our disruption, we're able to generate some turnovers, hopefully take away the rhythm, the natural rhythm of their shots. And then there's just such a thing as like some nights guys have an off shooting night. And so I'm sure that was part of it as well because they had some decent looks. So just fortunate, defensively, I think, to have enough pressure to be disruptive and make some of those looks a little tough.
Seemed like in the middle of the first half, you guys kind of went with that trap to kind of maybe confuse them a little bit on the inside, and it really had no answer for you. What was that kind of mentality? What was your thought process of doing that?
Yeah, I think for us, we'll utilize our trap both in the ball screen and then also in the post up, and we do that as a means to, just try to throw the rhythm off, to try to generate turnovers, and we felt like it was a time in the game we needed to really be aggressive. We needed to really try to be the more aggressive team, try to score off our defense. They're a great defensive ball club, so we were trying to figure out ways to generate stops off our defense.
You guys, UCF shot 1 of 19 from 3, 22 with turnovers, but they still kept it competitive to the end, to the very end, until they went on a scoring drought. What does that say about their team competitiveness and their defense that they played this tonight?
They're a very, very competitive team. They take the person out of their coach. A lot of toughness, a lot of resolve, just like Coach Dawkins has, just a lot of toughness. And to your point, as you come into this, I look at them and in a league where there's a lot of great defensive teams, they might be as good as anybody when it comes down to, their pride that they have, rotations, guarding the basketball. They do a really good job. Certainly Houston has an elite defense, but I think once you get past that, I think, what Coach Dawkins has done here is create a really good defensive team and a team that has a chance to win even when they don't have their best offensive night.
It's well established that Iowa State has a tremendous fan base, but tonight here in Florida, 1,000+ miles away from Ames, Iowa, there was a good contingent. What did you think about the fan support for your guys tonight?
Yeah, we're really fortunate. Proud of our fans. They travel, they support us. We're really lucky to have that. Credit to our guys, our young men in our program, because they do the right thing, and they're a fun group to pull for. So hopefully our fans take an extra sense of pride and in making those trips and making those sacrifices. And we're extremely grateful for those that made the trip here today.
You know how hard it is to win on the road in this league. Just piggybacking on that, how important was it to have a little bit of fan support there to cheer you on there?
Yeah, it helped us immensely. I mean, you talk about the last 4 minutes of the game, and we felt that energy from our fans when we got stops, when we made big shots or plays to finish the game. We could feel that energy, and we're just really lucky to have fans that care as much as ours do and that support us, certainly at home but also on the road.
On the other end of that, with this being your guys' first time coming down here to play a game, what did you think of UCF's fan support?
It's an awesome environment, terrific college basketball environment. UCF should feel great about all the folks that put together this unbelievable environment. It's a really difficult place to play. You can feel the energy, enthusiasm. You've seen the successes they've had, and they're only going to continue to build on those successes in the future.
Trey, it's always difficult to get wins on the road. How's the team feeling after getting a road dub?
Definitely feeling very good. Being in the Big 12, the best conference in the country, winning isn't easy, especially when you're on the road. I'm definitely proud of our guys and how we responded to adversity. There were a few spurts in the game where we were turning the ball over and we weren't really making shots, but, it didn't really deter us and deter our mentality of, being disruptive and still being aggressive. And, especially those last 5 minutes, I think we did a very good job of, staying focused and focusing on getting those stops in the end.
What did UCF do defensively that was so disruptive to you all offensively?
I think they just try to speed us up. That's one of the things that a lot of teams have tried to do to us lately, especially since the Houston game. Seeing that 10-minute spread that we had struggling in that first half, I think that a lot of teams kind of took that into their game plan against us to prepare. I think they did a very good job of bringing two to the ball and trying to force us to make quick decisions and speed us up offensively and stuff like that. So.
Kind of building off of that, UCF is pretty well known for their size and their shot blocking. How are you guys? You were able to take advantage of that aggressiveness. How are you guys able to kind of force those bigs to step up and clear out the back line for you?
Definitely. As we prepare for this game, it was something that we did talk about. We talked about their athleticism and their big men's ability to go get balls off the glass and stuff like that. So we definitely did put a little extra emphasis on that. As we prepared for these games, throwing in shot fakes and then just, our guys, continuing to be aggressive because even though they do rotate, we had a lot of open cuts on the backside for me and guys like D-Watt and Rob and Hassan on the backside. So we just made sure that we took our time and, threw our shot fakes in there and just let the game come to us.
UCF, like I mentioned before, struggled from shooting from the three and struggled with turnovers. But you guys kind of took a step up late in the second half with 5 minutes left, made them go on that scoring drought. What led you guys to taking that step up?
We call it winning time. One thing that we talk about and something we practice in practice every day is the last 4 minutes and just regardless of whether we're up or down or having a good shooting night or a bad shooting night, it's all about getting stops because that's the name of the game. Because at that time anything can happen. So we really pride ourselves on continuing to get stops at those last 4 minutes.
You guys forced 22 turnovers. What do you think it was that you specifically did that helped you create so many turnovers?
Our ball pressure. That's something that we really pride ourselves on. Our hand activity, getting in passing lanes and stuff like that, and just speeding guys up. So especially late when they did start that run. That was one thing Coach TJ talked to us about in the huddle is upping our ball pressure, upping our aggressiveness, and forcing them to turn the ball over and get back to being aggressive on the defensive end like we did in the first half.
How did you handle UCF's pressure when they were full court pressing?
Definitely, it was something that one of our first times seeing it. A lot of teams don't really pick up and press full court like they do. So it was definitely different for us. But I think that we really made sure to stay spaced and just to put guys in position just to make easy passes, just to pass out of it. Because I think those first 3 or 4 minutes. Our spacing in the press was kind of bad, so we had a lot of uncharacteristic turnovers in transition and stuff like that. So I think once we, kind of settled down and just got to our spots and did what we practiced, we were just fine.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you were right there towards the end of the game, had a 1-point lead with 4-something to go. They made it difficult for you to, build that lead in the last 5 minutes. What did you kind of see in the final minutes of that game?
Just our execution down the stretch. We didn't really execute offensively like we needed to. We got to take care of the ball. That's slow. That's partly on me as a point guard and leader of the team. I got to do better in my job, taking care of the ball and helping the team execute down the stretch.
Did they impose their will on you those last few minutes?
They're a very good team. They executed. I mean, they're top of the conference for a reason, and I feel like down the stretch we had a chance with a 1-point lead going into the under 4 media. Just really came down to our execution offensively and getting stops on the defensive end as well.
In a game that's, close to the very end, and then you hear the stat, 1 for 19 from 3-point range. Just what's your reaction to that?
Not too worried about that. I mean, obviously we gotta hit our shots, take our open shots when they're available, continue to take them. But we believe in our shooters and our teammates all the time. So I know on the offensive end they'll start falling. We just gotta continue to hang our hats on the defensive end and do better with getting stops.
You guys also struggled with turnovers tonight, 22 on the night. What were some of the miscommunications, some of the passes? What went wrong?
Their defense was just very aggressive, and I think to a certain extent, some of us was just unprepared for that aggressiveness. We went over it a lot in practice and film and everything, but you could tell their defense just kind of startled us from the jump. And we had, I think, I don't even know what the turnover count was in the first half. I think we had 13. And, like I said, it just startled us from the jump of the game. So we got to do better on that, preparing ourselves. Coach do a great job preparing us before the game. We just got to prepare ourselves.
Kind of building on that, though, you guys were able to stay in the game despite the miscues. What does that say about where you guys are at and the opportunities that you've had, and maybe let's slip away here in conference play?
It was just the adjustments throughout the game. We made adjustments throughout the game. Like I said, they started us right away, and then we adjusted. Our focus was turned up a lot. We made adjustments on the ball screens, how far down the bigs rolled or something like that. So there was just a lot of adjustments that we needed to make against a very aggressive defensive team like that. So it's just about adjustments.
When you talk about failing to execute, what's most frustrating about that? Because you've been in so many games, and I hear you guys say that over and over again, that failure to execute, especially in the waning minutes.
I would say failure to execute is kind of a tough way to put it. I feel like this game you could tell we just missed shots. There's a lot of missed shots there's a lot of shots that we just missed. A lot of shots that we want those people taking. Marcellus Avery, Darius Johnson, Jalen Sellers, we want those guys taking those shots. I feel like this is one of the lesser games where it was failure to execute. Like I said, it was just missed shots. There wasn't really too many defensive screw-ups, offensive screw-ups, anything like that. It was just, like I said, missed shots. So I wouldn't consider this a failure to execute game. We just couldn't put the ball in the basket.
DeMarr, you've been contributing a lot more the last 3 games. Are you getting more comfortable with this team and this system? What's kind of led to that?
I would definitely say our captains. Our captains, give me our captain Shemarri Allen here and Darius Johnson and the coaching staff and the whole team, really. But this is definitely one of my main guys to go to in practice and film and scout. And they just give me confidence to go out there and do what I do. At the beginning of the season, I was kind of, hesitant to, go for the rebound, go for the layup, go get the steal, whatever. But as you can see, I'm a little more, on my toes now. So it's just, the confidence that the team gives me.
In the beginning of the game, it showed a lot more, but they were running a trap defense where one of you guys would catch the ball in the corner of the elbow, and they would just have 2 guys come double-team you, force you to make a bad throw. How did you guys scheme around that, and how was that affecting your game?
I feel like Coach prepared as well. Like, he told us on the sidelines, they be ready for the traps to come. So just knowing, like, what we had to do offensively, execute, like, getting it out of our guards' hands quick and forcing them to play scramble basketball was our main objective.
Do you think they succeeded in their trap defense and the amount of turnovers they caused?
I feel like they did a really good job. That's a very good defensive team, like Coach said, and they had a lot of ball pressure on and denying the wings, different things like that. So I'm pretty sure they hang their hats on the defensive end, which is why they're a great defensive team.
Y'all have a couple more ranked opponents coming up and then the Big 12 tournament. How important is it to finish out strong in the regular season?
It's very important to finish out very strong. We have Houston coming in here Wednesday, so just flipping the switch and preparing for Houston is our main goal. We know they're another great defensive team, so we have to be prepared and locked in starting like tomorrow.
Aside from the missed 3-pointers, in the final 5 minutes of the game, you guys really failed to score. I think it was like around a 4-minute 50 drought. What happened in that sense that they just stepped up on defense, or you guys were just failing to hit your shots?
I'll kind of revert back to what I said before. It wasn't, failure to execute or anything like that. We got a great team, great guys. Coach drew up perfect plays to get, people open shots in their favorite spots, whatever you want to call it. And it's just making that shot. At the end of the day, we put ourselves in that position to be tied with 4 minutes left or be up 1 or down 1 with 4 minutes left. So it's not about them making that shot. It's about what we can do the rest of the 36 minutes of the game.
In a situation like that where you're in a scoring drought, do you feel a sense of urgency to get a basket going because you know the time is coming down?
You kind of do feel a sense of urgency, but our urgency as a team, as a group, what Coach Dawkins is instilling in us is to get stops on the defensive end. If we don't score that, you can't score.
All right, you guys all set?
Perfect.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Maybe this out of topic, but what keeps you motivated minute by minute during the game when you see that you're so close and maybe you are 1 down or maybe you're down up? Like, what keeps you motivated, guys, during the game?
I think just the energy from our fans, our teammates, getting stops defensively keeps us motivated. Like when we get multiple stops in a row, I feel like that gets us going on the offensive end, knowing like, all right, we holding them from scoring on top of us, like getting easy baskets at layups, dunks, different things like that, open threes. I feel like that is what motivates us to keep going.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I thought it was a great game. I thought both teams played the game at a high level. Really impressed with, how they defend, how well they stay connected, and really impressed with coming down the stretch, how well they were able to, make plays, in the last 4 minutes of the basketball game. I'd studied them a lot, and that's been the one common theme that I've seen coming down the stretch. They find the way to make plays that they need to make, not just scoring the ball. I'm talking about stops, rebounds, turning you over. Seeing it on tape was one thing, but actually playing against it and feeling that out there is something different. Very good team, well coached.
You just kind of touched on that. I think you guys led by 1 point at the under 4 timeout. They ended with kind of 11-0 run before you score at the end. What did you see in those final minutes? Was it something they did defensively that made it difficult, or was it execution on your part?
Well, they make it difficult in every single possession you have in the half court. They really do. They really are locked in. You got 5 guys playing as one. That's what they do. I thought, we had our looks. I thought we had a couple looks. We just didn't knock them down in that last 4-minute segment. But part of that is just the wear and tear and the pressure they put on you for 36 minutes prior to that's wearing you down. I thought we kind of were doing the same thing to them a little. I thought they went to the line, missed some free throws they would normally make. I think that comes down to just the level of intensity of the game. You wearing down a little bit, fatigue maybe coming down the stretch. Because we had some, I thought several good looks I thought were kind of open for us. And in a game like that, those shots have got to go down, because you're not playing a team that you can recover from if you don't, make them pay for the very few mistakes they make defensively. You have to cash them in.
Would you characterize those final few moments as them imposing their will on your team?
I would say imposing their will on our team if we didn't have some open looks. But we had some open looks at that point in time. I just think, we have to be able to knock those shots down in order to win a game like that. We had several looks. We ran some things. I thought they were pretty good to get some wide open shots or open shots. In a game like this, you have to make them pay in those situations. And so I wouldn't say imposing their will as much as we have got to, in those moments, you make the play that's available for us. And we have to make it, under some duress, like I said, under some duress, because the entire game was played at such a high level.
In a close game like this, when you hear the stat 1-for-19 from 3-point range, just what are your thoughts on that?
What was the question again?
In a close game like this, when you see the stat 1-for-19 from 3-point range, just what are your thoughts on that stat?
Not good enough to win a game like this. You go 1-for-19 from behind the arc, and we'll grade the game, of course, tonight. But I thought we had a number of good looks, and against them, they're hard to come by. So when you have them, as I mentioned before, you have to knock them down, because if you don't, you let them off the hook in those situations, and that defense just continues to get more and more intense. So, we had opportunities to knock some down that we didn't by some of our best shooters. So that's just unfortunate. It's basketball. Sometimes it's going to fall for you. Sometimes it's not. And they just didn't fall for us when we were able to manage to finally get some good looks. You have to make them pay.
You guys had some shots that didn't fall, but the uglier stat that appears is 22 turnovers on the night. And what was going on through your guys? I know they were running a trap defense early, trapping a guy, but what was going on with those 22 turnovers?
We have to take care of the ball better. That's been something that we've had to do better all season long. And I thought it bit us tonight. 22 turnovers, 14 turnovers in the first half. Now, that's what they do. They turn you on over average of 18-plus turnovers a game. They score 22 points, 24 points a game off your turnovers, which is probably one of the highest, turnover ratios, points off turnovers in the nation. And so today they scored 22, so right around what they averaged. And so we have to be better. We emphasized that prior to the game, not, tearing the ball over, making sure we take care of the basketball, because that's a big part of their offense, is turning you over and scoring real fast. And we didn't do it as well, especially in the first half. I thought we didn't do it as well. I thought we were better in the second half.
Would you say a lot of those turnovers was because of their high-intensity defense, or do you think a good amount of them were also lazy passes on your guys' side?
I think it was more or less what their defense was forcing. I thought they did a good job of getting into us. They did a good job of rotating quickly. They're probably one of the best teams I've seen at how fast they rotate. Like, we take a lot of pride in what we do defensively, so when I see a team like that, I have a great deal of respect for it, because I know how hard you have to coach and teach that side of the basketball. Everybody can teach the offensive side. The defensive side is harder to teach from the standpoint of getting your players to play it the way that I'm sure they want their guys playing it and the way we want our guys playing it. So when I see them move the way they moved, it tells me a lot about, what they emphasize every day.
Johnny, Go ahead.
Coach, it was a slow start for Darius Johnson there in the first half. Didn't play particularly well, but he was a bright spot in that second half. Really helped provide that spark to get you guys kind of getting back on that run. What did you see from him in that second half to really help ignite the team?
I thought he settled down. I thought they did a good job in the first half. You know, you could tell they identified him and Jalen as guys they had emphasized and wanting to really slow down, and of course they should. We did the same thing with some of their main players. And so I thought he settled down in the second half and was more or less taking kind of what the just defense gave him, because, you know, anytime you're in a situation where they're bringing two to the ball a lot when he had the ball, trying to get it out of his hands, they were trying to deny it back to him at times so that he couldn't touch it. A lot of similar things that we do defensively. So I thought that kind of disrupted him, got him out of rhythm a little in the first half, but he calmed down in the second half and started playing the way he's capable.
Johnny, you know, what can you guys take from this game with the defensive side of things when you're going forward against a Houston team that's very high-octane defense as well?
Well, the one thing we do know is they're going to be very similar defensively. They both are two outstanding defensive teams. So we know that, you know, coming into the game that we're going to have to be better than we were tonight offensively from the standpoint of taking care of the basketball. And we have to be better, you know, of course, more efficient offensively when we have in our looks and knocking them down. You know, and that just comes with basketball. Some days you will, some nights you won't. Hopefully when we get those looks, you know, we'll be better prepared for them. But we got to make sure we take care of the basketball.
Piggybacking off of that last question, you guys were staying in the game seemingly all night long. What does that say about your team and the growth that they have shown this year?
Well, in talking to my team, you know, I wanted them to know that we were right there. You know, 36 minutes, we played toe-to-toe with them, and they're a terrific basketball team. So I didn't want our guys to leave the locker room not knowing that they had done some good things. We just, like I told them, they just made more plays than us coming down the stretch, and we have to be better at making plays and or stopping the other team from making those plays coming down the stretch in that game.
Well, you guys made the comeback, and you guys missed a lot of wide-open threes. The comeback was really built off of attacking the paint and forcing your will in the paint. When your guys started going back to shooting the three ball a little bit more and falling behind, is that something that you guys work on, that you wanted to get them back focused and attacking, or do you want them to take the open three?
No, they're always going to be aggressive and looking to attack. Sometimes when you attack the paint and you suck everybody in, you throw the ball out, there's no place else to go because the paint is already back sucked in by their other team. So when you throw out there, the only thing you have is the shot, because if you come back in there, everybody's in the paint anyway. So we did a number of times where we drove the ball in there. We sucked their defense in like we wanted to do. They had 4 or 5 guys in the lane. We kick out. If another guy just gets and starts driving, where can he go? The lane is already filled with people.
Looking ahead to your last couple or few regular season games and then the Big 12 tournament, how good does it make you feel that you do have the opportunity to still get some Quadrant 1 wins and hopefully make the NCAA tournament?
Well, for us, we still believe. We have to go out there and take it one game at a time. We still believe we can still make postseason, but we have to continue to get better as we come down the stretch. We're playing some great teams. That's what March is for. We're in March. It's March Madness. All your dreams could come true. You're never really out of it, come March. If you believe, you keep working together, and you start playing your best basketball when it counts the most, which is right now.
Coach, we're talking a lot about what went wrong tonight. What did you see out there that went right for you guys?
I thought we defended really, really well for 36 minutes. I thought, at that point, probably around the 4-minute mark, 3.5-minute mark, both teams are right around 50. So I thought we did a really good job defending them as well. So it went both ways. And so I really was proud of the way we defended. I thought we rebounded well. They're a very physical team. Like I said, that's one of the things, too, the film doesn't do justice on, just how physical they are at all positions. And I thought our guys did a good job of handling the physicality. So there were things we did well, and those are 2 of them.
DeMarr mentioned, and you spoke on it, that you prepared for them and you knew what they were going to throw at you, but it's different once they start playing. What can you do differently in preparing for a team, especially Houston? You look at film, you've got a game plan going, but when it's actually the game, it's a different feeling for them.
No, absolutely. What you want to see happen is we have to play with more poise and composure, something I've talked about a lot this year. You have to be able to do that against teams at that level. These are 2 of the leading teams in our conference, 2 of the top 10 teams in the nation. I think Houston's now number 1. So, to play in those games and be successful in those games, you've got to play with composure. You have to take care of the basketball. You have to defend at a high level. If you can do those 2 things, take care of the basketball, defend at a high level, you will have an opportunity to win. And tonight we had an opportunity. We did those 2 things. We didn't take care of it well, but we did defend at a high level, which gave us a chance to be in the ball game.
To follow up on that, Houston is ranked number one. And not only are they your next opponent, they're also your final home game. Just how important is that game overall to you guys?
Very important. I mean, it's our next game, so we always look at our next team that we're playing as our most important opponent, no matter who they are. It happens to be Houston, coming up. And it's senior night. So for our guys that have been with me, albeit some of these guys just 1 year, because we have so many new guys now with turnover, it's their last time, on this floor. And so with that, you want to make sure our guys are prepared properly and we come out and play with a winning effort.
You mentioned before that your team did a lot of good things, but also, again, the shooting from the three-point line and the turnovers. But you guys stayed competitive. You guys stayed in it until the very end. Do you find it more on the personal side, but do you find it frustrating when your team fights so hard just to lose it at the end?
Oh, no, absolutely. I think we all are disappointed. I would say disappointed. If we did a lot of things wrong, that I could pinpoint as that's unacceptable with our standards. But we have certain standards about our effort and our energy first and foremost. I thought guys maxed out when they were on the floor. They played as hard as they could play. That's the main thing you want as a coach to see. I thought the energy was great. And then, we didn't make shots. I mean, they go 5 for 21 from three. We go 1 for 19 from three. We did a good job of defending the three for them, but we didn't shoot it as well. And that's something that we've gone in and out of all season, to be quite frank. We've had nights where we've, knocked it down. We've had nights where it just didn't go for us as well. We haven't been as consistent from behind the arc as probably some of the teams we've had in the past. We've had more shooters on those teams than we've had this year. And, but these guys have shown they're capable. We just have to, push the right buttons and put them in the right place, and they can knock them down.
You had the opportunity to spend some time with Kirk Speraw in the 93-94 team. What's something that Coach maybe shared with you in your conversations with him?
He was very complimentary of what we're doing, of the job we're doing, of our team. I just talked to him right after the radio show before coming here. That's what held me up. And he was just talking about just, how close we were, how close we are from the standpoint of the teams he had here earlier when he was here and how they, got over the hump. And kind of, where we are, in that same type of position where you're changing conferences, you're leveling up, and, you're learning how to win at this level now. And that's what our guys are doing, learning how to win at this level. And, and he talked about just how coming down the stretch, the only difference was kind of what we just said, was they made the plays coming down the stretch, and we had opportunities to make some of those plays coming down the stretch.
What does history mean to you at this program?
It means a great deal to me. I'm big on coaches and former players that have come before us, because I always understand Coach Speroff, or whether it's myself, or whether it was Donnie, any of us that you've seen coach the program here or any program, we're just stewards. We're not, graduates from UCF. Our times, we come and we go, but the players that have played here, this is their, all the time, their legacy, their history, because they're the ones who's bleeding and sweating on this court. They're the ones who's going through every practice, sacrificing, making the commitments that are necessary to provide a great product for our community, to be successful for our university, and to represent us in the right way. And so for me, I know there'll be another coach here besides me. But the players that come, they'll be here forever. They'll be here forever because this is theirs. And so it's mine. I'm the steward of it. But there'll be another steward at some point in time. But as far as the players, this is always theirs. And I always want them to feel that. So all the teams from the past, teams now, they always know they're welcome here, because I always have them understand that they have ownership in what we do here. Whether you played 50 years ago, 30 years ago, you played last year, this will always be their program. And what I want to make sure is, while I'm representing us, is that we make them proud by how we carry ourselves and how hard we compete and win.
All right, that's all for tonight. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. All right, guys.